Ahoy and welcome back to another video. It is now the last day of December, the last day of the year, and this is the last of my monthly Games of the Month videos, at least for 2024. Played a lot of games this month. I have got some time off work, so the last few months I've been trying to catch up on games, but I haven't had much luck. I've been falling behind. This month I've had lots of time to play games, and I've been playing a lot of different games with that time. So I guess we'll start off with the games for December, the games I've been playing that came out this month. First off, I'll start with one I have not played yet, and that's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I have it downloaded. I fully intend on playing it. I'll probably get to that early next month, or tomorrow, basically, early January. I'm finishing up a couple other games, and then I'll get around to that. So the games that I did play from December, first one was Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals, free-to-play hero shooter with Marvel characters. It's basically Overwatch, if you've played Overwatch. I have not played Overwatch before, or very little Overwatch, but I had some friends that wanted to play Marvel Rivals. I said sure, and it's honestly a lot of fun. I played my first game as Venom. I think Venom's like a tank. So basically, I was just running in there, smacking fools with my symbiote hands, tanking damage. No clue what I'm doing at all. I'm just running forward, taking hits, trying to kill people. But even doing that, I was having a lot of fun. I felt like I was filling a role. I felt like I was helping the team. But I was just kind of blindly throwing fists. But I enjoyed the game a lot. I only played it for one night, but we played for several hours. I also liked Thor. Thor was really fun. Throwing the axe, the hammer Mjolnir at people. I don't know if it's a game I'm going to keep going back to, but I think it's a game I'll definitely play when friends want to play it. I did buy the Battle Pass just because the Battle Pass doesn't expire, and I was having a good time. And my normal go-to rule of thumb with free-to-play games is if I'm having fun with it, I play it for a few hours, and I intend on playing it again at all, I'll throw $5-10 at it. It's not a big deal. I like to. I don't feel bad playing free to play games, but if I'm gonna play a free to play game, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm gonna put some money into it just to try to get the most out of it I can. If there's a way for me to enjoy it a little bit more by paying a couple bucks, I'll support the game. I'll put some money into it and I'll enjoy it. So yeah, Marvel Rivals, my second favorite December release. My favorite December release was the only other one I played through. Kind of a interesting one. It's called Mouthwashing. So Mouthwashing is a game that I heard people talking about on the internet. It sounded neat. That I heard some friends talking about it, and then when I heard internet talking about it, some friends talking about it, I decided I need to check it out. It's basically a psychological horror, I guess, game. It's on Steam. At least I played it on Steam. Played it on my Steam Deck. It's not that long. I played it in one sitting. So Steam Deck, headphones, in the dark. Play through it one sitting. I don't want to talk about the game too much because it is one of those games that you got to play for yourself to get the full experience. If you talk too much about it, it kind of gives away the plot and what's going to happen. But basically, it's a first person kind of it's kind of an adventure-y thing. You're going and trying to figure out what's going on this ship. You're on a 5-person freight ship, so you're in space, and there's a ship it's delivering something, and you're on that ship. Something goes wrong, and you're interacting with the other 4 people on the ship to figure out what's going on. And yeah, don't want to talk too much more about it, but a really cool game. It's got a kind of a retro 3D, early 3D graphics thing going on. Craig from podcast, he describes it as between PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 graphics, and I think it's a pretty good description of it. Early early 3D graphics. Looks neat. It's got kind of a good vibe to it. It's not just like a lot of indie games are like pixels, 2D pixel art. This game has a really cool vibe of like early 3D sprites and stuff, 3D artwork. So I really enjoyed it. Really cool game. Did not go where I thought it was going to go. But if you have a few hours and you're into that kind of thing, it's pretty cheap. I think it was like $10, $12, $15 maybe. But I thought it was worth the money. And it was my favorite game I played this month because it was only one of 2 games I played this month. But I did have kind of an honorable mention for December games though, because there's a game that I bought that came out this month physically, but it came out in August digitally, and that is Black Myth Wukong. Finally got around to playing Black Myth Wukong. I'm only about 5 hours in, so basically I got to like the first area, got to the first big set of bosses and stuff. Really cool game so far. It's very impressive visually. It's got some nice. I don't know if I like the music per se, but like the audio design feels nice. I feel like when you hit things, it has like the good sound detection. The premise of this game is basically like it's an action game. I don't know if I would call it a Souls-like per se, but it's definitely a like boss-focused third-person action-adventure game. So you go through an area, beat some enemies, explore a little bit, find some things, fight a boss, keep going forward. I think if you're used to the Souls formula, if this much of the game is exploring and this much of the game is bosses, I would say in Black Myth it's a little bit less exploring and a little bit more bosses so far. I feel like I'm getting more bosses for less exploring than what you'd be used to from a FromSoft game. Not a bad thing, not a good thing. It's just a little bit different. More bosses to exploring ratio so far. Like I said, I'm only in the second area. I played in that second area for maybe an hour, so the rest of the game may be different. But that was the vibe I'm getting from the first area of the game. Combat was, I don't know, a couple of the bosses were challenging. I feel like a lot of the bosses I was able to get by just spamming the light attack. The basic light attack combo, stun them, then keep hitting them, getting damage, and then you get early on you get a spell that can freeze people in space. So light attack combo, stun them, hit them, they try to hit you, freeze them, light attack combo, just kind of looping that. And that got me through the first handful of bosses, no sweat. Later on, the last boss I fought for like the area end boss was a little bit more involved than that. I had to actually fight the boss, had to dodge. I had to not just rely on the free spell and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that the rest of the game is a little more like that, a little more challenging. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. I intend on, got a few more days off until I go back to work. I might try and get a good chunk of that game done in these next 6 days or so. We'll see. But yeah, that's all the games that came out in December I played. But I did play, like I said, a lot of games, and a lot of games that did not come out in December. Starting off with the one that I've been playing the most, a game I put like 35 hours in, approaching 40 hours in the last month or so, and that is Metaphor Refantasio. Finally got around to starting Metaphor, and it is just as good as I was hoping it was. I was putting this game off until I finished Persona 3 Reload. And that game took me several months to really get the ball rolling there. I was like really slow burning that game. But with Metaphor, the second I started playing it, I feel like it's been pulling me through it in a way that Persona didn't pull me through. I feel like Persona 3 takes a good while to get going. Story-wise, I feel like Metaphor right from the jump, I was excited. I was wanting to go. I really enjoy the dungeon, the way dungeons work in this game as opposed to Persona 3. With Persona 3, it's all one dungeon. It's all pretty samey, pretty repetitive. In Metaphor, you've got different dungeons. They have similar aspects. They're not like super duper unique or bespoke, but they at least feel different. I feel like they're spread out in a better, they're spread out a little bit more, better pace. Where like in Persona, I was doing nothing but social link stuff for however many hours, and then nothing but dungeons for 3 or 4 hours, and then it would flip flop like that. With Metaphor, I feel like I'm getting a couple hours of dungeons, social stuff, dungeons, social stuff in a pace that's helping me not get bored of one side or the other, and I'm looking forward to getting back in the other, increasing my stats, increasing my social links, and then leveling up, fighting enemies, stuff like that. It's a really good balance. This game has an interesting battle system where the regular turn-based battle system is pretty similar to what I learned in Persona, but with a couple, I think, good changes. In Persona, when you hit a weakness on an enemy, it would just get rid of their turn. And I feel like if you could chain together weaknesses, you could really just break a fight. You'd basically be able to attack them several times in a row. They'd never get a chance to attack you, and you could really cheese some fights like that. But in Metaphor, what it does is when you hit a weakness, it just gives you another action, which still rewards you, but it doesn't make it to where you're not going to get hit on the enemy turn. I think it's a better balance that way, and I think it prevents you from doing that, like from chaining weaknesses together and just not ever getting hit. But speaking of not ever getting hit, there is what I would call somewhat of a flaw in the battle system, and that's in the overworld. Before you enter a battle, you can do like you can hit them in the overworld, and like almost like an action game. You have your attack combos and you can dodge roll. And if you hit them and you stun them, you'll go into a battle with an advantage. If they hit you, they'll go into a battle with advantage. So where the problem comes is if you stun them and you go into a battle, all the monsters on the other side are stunned and you basically get a free turn. And for a majority of enemies, if you get a free turn in them, basically 2 free turns to attack, you're going to kill them before they can even attack you. Because you go into the battle, they take a big chunk of their health for getting the advantage, and then they're stunned the first turn, so you do damage to them, and then you get another full turn to damage them again, and if that happens, you're not going to get hit. And then on the vice versa, if they hit you, they go with the advantage, and I feel like that really topples topples it into their favor, to where I feel like if you get hit to start a fight, you're so far behind right from the start, and it's hard to come back. If you're fighting a tougher enemy, it can really mess you up, make you burn some items. So I feel like it's a little bit too dependent on that, where if you get an advantage in a fight, it's way too easy, and if you get hit, it's like super punishing. So I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about that. Bosses don't, you can't like go in there with an advantage or a disadvantage, so you don't have to worry about that with a boss enemy. But the regular enemies, it's a little hit or miss sometimes. It is nice though when you're over leveled and you just hit an enemy, they'll just die. It doesn't make you waste time with the turn-based fight. That helps keep things moving, keeps things rolling. So that is a good thing in my opinion. Story is great so far. Music's great so far. I'm in like the I'm in the 4th area. So if you play the game, maybe that'll get you kind of an idea of where I'm at. But like I said, 35 hours in, the 3rd or 4th area, and I'm really enjoying the story and excited to see where it goes. Let's see, other games for, I finally finished Mario and Luigi Brothership. I enjoyed that game. I've talked about it, I think I talked about it last month. The game was very talky, very, 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 very talky. And most of the talkie was not good talkie. I feel like it was a lot of filler, a lot of just saying things just to say things. So that made the game stretch out way longer than it needed to. So the combination of it stretching out way longer than it needed to, and then me being stubborn and wanting to do everything. I did every side quest, everything I could possibly do, every challenge. The combination of those two things made a game that, in my opinion, should have been like 15 hours long. My final time was 55 hours when I beat it. I was ready to be done by the time it was over. The combat was great. The battle system was just what I want from Mario and Luigi game. It was fun to dodge attacks. It was fun to counter attacks. The bros moves were fun to pull off. Some really cool bros moves with unique inputs. It's not just pressing A, pressing B. There's some cool inputs, timing based things. Some cool like visuals. Really cool bros attacks. So the battle system gets 2 thumbs up for me. The exploration, I feel like there's nothing really to find other than there's like 5 items in the game. It's like mushrooms, different levels of mushrooms, 1-up mushrooms, nuts, which are healing for both partners, syrup, which is the MP recovery, candy gets you health and MP, and then there's a boo biscuit, which is a boo ghost that makes it to where enemies can't hit you. So there's like 5 or 6 items, and when you're exploring, you're either getting coins, one of those items, or equipment. And the equipment, for the most part, I feel like by doing all these side quests and optional things, I had much better equipment than I would ever find exploring. So I never really had any incentive to explore because I feel like I just from doing the side quests and the optional bosses and stuff, I had better equipment. But I feel like I had to explore because what if there was a secret chest with a really cool weapon in it? But that never came to fruition. That never happened. I never was really rewarded for that. So the exploration not great. Story's kind of basic, and then the talkiness of the just getting the story to you, way too drawn out, way too much, way too dumbed down. Music was good. There was some good music. Nothing that like quite stuck in my ear like some of the stuff from Superstar Saga. But music was not a problem. The overworld map, the ocean map, I thought it was a cool idea at first. You're on your home base is a boat. I think it's called a ship shape. Ship shape. That is the boat because it is the shape of a ship. It's a tree, whatever. It's dumb. It's a stupid pun. So you're sailing on this ship-shaped tree through the ocean, and when you go to an island that you haven't been to before, you have to actually sail to it, and it takes real time. Your boat will go around the map slowly till you get there. And I feel like that was just unnecessary waiting for most of the time. It was a cool gimmick early on because it was like, there's this thing over here and this thing over here, and I'm going to sail to it, and I'm going to shoot my cannon and land on it. But by the end of the game, it was just unnecessary waiting. And then right at the end of the game, you unlock the ability to just like fast travel to any area of the map. It'll just like your ship will just basically teleport to anywhere to skip all of the slow like path taking of the tides. So it's like I played the game for 50 hours, then you make it to where I did all the side quests, went back and forth, wasted all this time sailing everywhere, and then you give me the ability to just skip all that at the very end. I thought that was a little silly. So I'm really conflicted on this game. Like, if it was more streamlined and the story was just quicker, faster paced, with that battle system, excellent game. But that is not the case. So I'm kind of in the middle. It's in a okay to good range for me. I think I kind of landed on like a 6.5 out of 10. It's kind of where I landed on it. So a little disappointing, but overall, fun game. But since I finished Mario & Luigi Brothership, I was able to go back and play some more Echoes of Wisdom. Put another few hours into this game. This game I dropped not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because I was getting swamped with other games I wanted to put time into. I've been enjoying this game, and I've enjoyed it since the first time I played it. I'm not even doing like the dungeons in this game. I'm just running around the map, doing side quests, exploring, finding echoes, finding heart pieces. I think I'm close to 10 hours in the game, and I've only done like the intro dungeon. I haven't even gone to the next dungeon yet. Just run around the map, finding stuff, just exploring, stacking beds, climbing over stuff. So it's a really good time. I do feel like I do need to go to a dungeon now to upgrade my like ability to use more echoes at once, because I feel like I'm starting to be limited with that. But yeah, there's just the openness of this game, the how it allows you to explore and do what you want to do is super cool. The ecosystem is neat, albeit maybe a little tedious when you're actually in actual combat, because basically I run away and I summon one of the ones I'm using the most is like a moblin, a level 2 sword moblin. So basically he'll swing around, he'll kill most things on his own, and I'm just kind of standing there in the back waiting. He dies, and I spawn one in again, then I'm waiting. So that's not great. If you've played this game, you know there's a mechanic that's introduced very early that can be used to work around that. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played, but it's not all waiting. You do have the ability to speed up the combat and make it a little bit more streamlined without just letting on the echoes do the work for you. But I need to play the game a little bit more to get better at that or have more accessibility to that. But it's a fun game. I'm excited to play it more. And I should probably, this doesn't seem like it's going to be too long of a game. I feel like I've been to like 2/3 of the map already. And like I said, I'm like 10 hours in. So I feel like I should be able to get through this game relatively quickly. Maybe I'll finish that up next month. Let's see. Early in the month, I think right after the November games video, I sat down and played through Donkey Kong Land 1, 2, and 3 on Nintendo Switch Online. They added them week after week after week to the Game Boy service. I had never played the Donkey Kong Land games. I played some of the old country games on the Super Nintendo through NSO, and then I played like Tropical Freeze on the Switch and on the Wii U. So I like the Donkey Kong platformers, but I never played the Land games, so I wanted to check them out. And they're like neat. They're not as good as the country games, but they're it's cool to imagine that was on a Game Boy back then. They have some impressive animations and impressive sprite work for a Game Boy. That being said, I don't think if you have the option to play the country games or the Land games, I don't see any time you pick the Land games over them. They are just a worse version, in my opinion. The music is neat and cool and interesting, but it's basically just a crunchier version of what the good music on the Super Nintendo versions. I don't think it's like a 1-to-1 with the levels, but similar vibe. You know, like in Donkey Kong Land 2, you're playing as Diddy Kong with Dixie Kong, going through like pirate-themed stuff. Land 3 is Kiddy Kong and Dixie Kong, and then, you know, Land 1 is Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong. Same like basic concept, similar structure, but not the same levels, I don't think. Fun games, if you want to check them out, just because they're kind of cool. I recommend going in there and changing to the Game Boy Color option, the settings. Don't play on like the green DMG version because it's too muddy and hard to see anything that's going on. Turn to the color version. It's a little bit more legible and fun to play that way. But if you're interested, I did do a full review of these games earlier in the month. So check that out if you want to hear a little bit more talk about the games. Overall, neat. Don't need to play them if you've already played the country games, though. All right. I can't remember if I mentioned this. I guess I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. I have a Steam Deck now. I guess I just kind of said that because I played Mouthwashing, but I also played a game called Fishlike that did not come out this month. It came out several months ago on the Steam Deck. Fishlike is an indie WarioWare. I love WarioWare games, and Fishlike is basically, it looks like the original WarioWare on the Game Boy Advance. It has similar sound effects. It plays just like it. If you played a WarioWare, you'll like Fishlike. It's a little tougher. It's a little bit more demanding. I feel like, you know, if I were to pick up a new WarioWare now, I'm going to be able to get through it pretty easily for the most part. Or most of the games I should be able to just pick up intuitively and beat, which is kind of the point. It's supposed to like make you think real quick, make a decision, do the thing. That's the point of the micro games. Fishlike's a little tougher. I feel like it has a little bit quicker of a pace, and some of the games are a little bit harder to read, whether that be from being less clear what needs to happen, or just because the game is meant to play with a mouse or D-pad and buttons. So sometimes you'll go into a game and you don't really know off the bat, should I be using a mouse to click something, or should I be using the D-pad and buttons to do something? So because of that, I feel like it's like an extra step to think and figure out what you're doing until you learn the games. But I really enjoy it. It was like $3 on Steam, and I've played it for, I don't know, 3-4 hours. So I think I got my money's worth from it. And I like WarioWare games, so I was really happy with this one. So yeah, Fishlike on Steam. Check it out. And then speaking of Wario games, I did get the my last WarioWare game for my physical collection, and that was WarioWare Mega Party Games, which is the GameCube game. If you've played the GameCube game, it's very similar to the Game Boy Advance game. I think the GameCube game is a worse version. It's weird. I streamed it the whole way through. It only takes a couple hours to beat it, but it was weird. In the other Wario games, when you start a character's section, you get like a little like story cutscene setup. Even if it's short and simple, it's something. That didn't really happen in this one. It just kind of throws you into the next character section, and you play their mini games, and then it just throws you in the next character section. There's no like waiting. There's no like selecting the next character. If you finish a character, it just starts. You just start playing the next character's thing. No thinking anything. So I thought that was a little jarring, a little weird. Basically, every time I finished a character section, I'd finish with like 2 lives left, and then it would just throw me into the next character, and I'd still have those 2 lives, and I'd die. I had to start them over, and then beat them again, then die. It was weird, but it was fun because it was WarioWare. It wasn't like the best WarioWare I've played. I still think my favorite has to be the Game Boy Advance one. I think that is just like, even though it was the first one, it's just like so perfect for what it is. The GameCube game was a little odd, I thought. A little odd. But I know this one you can play multiplayer. Maybe one day I'll have people over and play it couch co-op. Maybe that'd be fun. Maybe that's the intention of this game, and I've never played it like that, so I don't know. But yeah, it was neat. I'm glad I have it. I now have all the can't see them, but they're right here. All the Wario games are stacked up on this part of my screen in the little glass case there. So glad to have them all because I love that series. But the last one I played was not necessarily my favorite. And then the last game I've been playing, I got a new cell phone. I've been due for an upgrade for a while. Finally got an upgrade. And because I upgraded, I was able to download Pokemon trading card game Pocket, which is the new. It's the new digital trading game version of the Pokemon cards, basically. So you open packs, you get cards, you fill out your collection, and then there's some dumbed down, simpler, distilled version of the actual battling of the cards, the actual trading card game part of it. So it's been fun kind of learning how the TCG works. I never knew how to play Pokemon cards. And even though this version is a distilled version of it, a little simpler, it's helping me learn and understand. So that's neat. I finally know how to play Pokemon cards now. But yeah, the game's just so fun just to like open the packs. You actually get to swipe your finger across the screen and open the packs, and then you get 5 cards a pack, and it shows you which ones are left in each collection. And it's just, it's got its hooks in me pretty good. I did put a little bit of money into it. Because like I said with the Marvel Rivals, when I play a free-to-play game, if I'm enjoying it, I don't mind putting some money into it because I'm getting enjoyment hours from it. I don't feel bad paying for it a little bit. So I did put $10 in it, and they just let me open like 20 packs, which is a very cathartic moment. I just opened 20 packs at once, which was awesome. But going forward, I'm just going to open you get 2 packs a day guaranteed, and then by doing like, I thought some balloons on accident. You get 2 packs a day guaranteed, and then by doing like challenges or little quests missions, you unlock some currencies that can buy time down to open packs quicker. So it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to try to keep up with it now that I have it because I'm starting from a little behind. The game's been out for a while now, so I feel like everyone's got a head start with their collections, but. I feel like now I can keep pace going forward and try to finish out the collections as they come. But yeah, great game. And I just remembered there was one more game I did play. I forgot to mention. I was gifted something really cool for Christmas this year. I was gifted a MetaQuest 3S. Super cool. I've just started messing around with this thing. A lot of neat stuff you can do with it. But what I've been doing with it is it came with Batman Arkham Shadow, I think it's called. And it's just a first-person VR Batman game. And it's really cool. I haven't played a whole hell of a lot of it. I basically have just gone through the intro area, like climbed a ladder, walked around. I glided with my cape. That was kind of cool. You actually like put your hands at your hips and put them over your head, and then you'll glide with the cape. I haven't really gotten to the combat yet, like the actual fighting dudes, which I'm sure will come soon, but I'm a big Batman fan. I had never played VR. I've never had a VR headset. So this is a new experience for me. Luckily, I have not been getting motion sick yet. So just really enjoying it. And I'm excited to see how that rest of that game goes, because I've heard it's a pretty good game. And so far it is fun. I've only played for like 30 minutes, but so yeah, big December, played lots of games, really happy the amount of games I was able to get in this month. And I've got a few more days off, so I'm going to try to get even more games in, try to finish up some of these ones I was talking about. So yeah, as far as this is the end of the year, so I am going to put out a couple more videos after this in the coming days. About 2 days from now, I'm going to put up my favorite indie games of the year, just talking through all the indie games I played, why I like them, a little bit more detail. And then probably about a week from now, I'm hoping, my goal is a week from now, I want to get out my top 10 games of the year video. So that's got a little bit of work in front of me, but I've got some free time and I need to knock it out. As far as these monthly videos, I've really enjoyed doing these. If you've watched these, I really appreciate. I like talking about the games I'm playing. It means a lot if someone sits there and watches me ramble about games I'm playing each month. I am going to keep doing this at the in 2025. I do think this is a good system for me to kind of recap the games I've been playing and talk about them. It's helpful to me to talk about this stuff, type some stuff down, and then look back on it at the end of the year when I'm making this Game of the Year video. So if you like these videos, I'm going to keep making them next year. And yeah, that's about all I've got now. So appreciate you watching. A couple more videos coming out this year. If you look forward to those, it'll be coming out soon. And I would love to know in the comments what your favorite games for December were, what your favorite games for the year were. What are you looking forward to next year? Because 2025 is shaping up to be an interesting year, especially if that new Switch hardware, new Nintendo hardware actually does come out. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next year.